afternoon, Rotarians, friends, and guests. I am Becky Fields, and I'm the president of this great club. And it's not every day that I get to start out with a Grammy in my hands. In fact, it's never, to be exact. We'll get to hear all about this later. I know you're waiting for it, so let's get started. Let's begin our program with invocation with past president Muzan Biggs, song and pledge from John Crescent, and visitor introductions from DJ Morrow Ingram.
Let us pray. Creator of all that is, giver of all that is good and beautiful and true, having eaten our food, we remember with gratitude the people, animals, plants, all creatures of your sky and sea, all of us turning in the wheel of living and dying, whose joyful exertion provides our sustenance again this day. May we, with the blessing of this food, join our hearts to the one heart of the world in awareness and love, and may we, together with others of goodwill, realize the path of awakening and never stop making effort for the benefit of others. Amen.
And on this first day of school for many kids across the state of Oklahoma and here in Tulsa, including my son, who's starting 6th grade at Edison today, let's sing America the Beautiful. Now the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. As you can see by the stack of guest numbers and cards I have here, we have a lot of guests, and we're so glad you're here. But in the interest of staying on time and giving our speaker all the time that he needs, I'm simply going to ask all guests and their Rotarian hosts to please stand so we can welcome you, and also our visiting Rotarians. So please stand and let us give you a warm welcome. We hope to see you all here again. Thank you.
Special thank you to this week's meeting sponsors, Chenoweth & Cohen. We have Cara Gay Neal, and Tulsa Zoo, Terry Carell. We appreciate your sponsorships. And we have a couple of committee meetings that you need to know about today. Right following the meeting today, Diversity and Inclusion will meet in room 232. The new event, Rhythm and Brews, will meet in room 231. You are also invited to a multi-club social on Thursday, August 29th from 6 to 8 p.m., hosted by the Rotary Club of Broken Arrow. It looks like a really fun party. I've been getting some notifications. They're getting everything ready, and they've invited our entire club. There are flyers on the information table in the lobby. Tina has set up a table that if you ever have any questions or need information from the meeting, we'll be sure to put those out there. So they'll be in following the meeting. You can pick one of those up so you can put it on your calendar. It should be a great time, and we're really thankful that they've done that to let all of us meet each other. So it'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you can attend. Also in exciting news, upcoming programs on August 28th, a fan favorite, Dr. Gerald Clancy of Tulsa University President, will talk about Tulsa's cyber district. So you'll definitely want to invite friends. That's always a great program anytime he comes to speak. And on August 12th, the Board of Directors approved the following proposed new membership levels, and a copy is on your table. A little background on this, and that is, of course, we're trying to grow membership, and one of the main areas of focus that we're trying to grow in is the under 40 membership. And a lot of times, the dues structure was just a little bit much for our up-and-coming leaders, and so the board, the membership committee, with approval by the board, has approved a new dues structure. Under age 40, $39 dues per month. The meals and upfront costs will remain the same, and once the member reaches the age of 40, the dues structure will revert back to the normal structure from that time on, starting with their next billing schedule. Another fun little one that I thought was a neat addition that the membership committee is suggesting is a spousal membership. So I know a lot of you bring along your spouses, and we've had some spouses say, I'd like to be a Rotarian, I might just not have the time, or I come to some of the events, but I can't come to everything. And this would be a way for them to be a card-carrying member of our club. So there is a reduced fee structure there as well, $39 a month, and we will actually waive the sign-up fee, that's $320 when you first sign, we'll actually waive that as well. All of that information is on your table, and we just need to hear from you. We'll have a vote next week, so you have time. If you have any questions, our membership chair is Paul Baumann. Please get with him if you have any questions, concerns, or anything, and then we'll have a vote on it and see if this is something that the entire club believes is good for us for the future. That'll be coming next week. At this time, I would love to welcome back to the stage Tana Scott, our Sergeant of Arms. Welcome back from vacation. You look all rested and ready to go.
I had 3 kids with me. I didn't get any sleep at all. Nothing like a 7-day vacation to make you appreciate your full-time job.
Right.
Right?
I bet.
For real. It's like, are we going home yet? But no, just kidding. It's great to be back. Everybody's talking very fast today, I feel like. There's a Grammy on the table. I'm freaking out. So I'm just going to get right to the fines because I always go over. But I'm really going to try to stay. Oh, we're so ahead. Okay. I want to start with Ken Snoke. Thank you so much. He has donated $200. His birthday, August 14th, and his 51st wedding anniversary, August 24th. He said, are you here, Ken? There, okay, he's way over there. He did say that the numbers don't add up, but 200 is a nice round number, and I agree. Thank you so much. And Will Smith has donated $1,000 for his 22 years in Rotary. He is not able to be with us today. I hope he rests, he heals, and he gets better. He said as soon as he does, he will be back to the meetings. So thank you, Will. All right, Jerry, where are you? We've waited a long time for this. He's been on vacation. So his birthday was, my birthday, July 29th. So happy belated, Jerry. Thank you so much for your $200. Here are some pictures, by the way. There's a bear in there. I should have circled it, but there's a grizzly in there, isn't there, Jerry? Somewhere in there, right? Yeah. There's a grizzly. And then there's a moose. And is it Grinnell or Grinnell? Grinnell, okay. I looked it up. There were both. It's like Adair, I don't know. It's Grinnell. So this is a moose heading up to Grinnell. And then this is Grinnell Glacier. Am I right? Did I do this right? And this is the Grinnell, the glacial lakes heading down from Grinnell. Right? Thank you, Jerry. Beautiful. It's way better than Mexico, I have to say. Sarah Stokely donated $100 for her birthday back August 5th. Sarah, were you able to get here today? Yay, thank you so much, Sarah. JB, are you here? No? Yes? No? Oh, well, JB donated $250 for his birthday, August 20th. I did a little Facebook stalking to get his old photo and then his Rotarian photo. A little now and then action for you. And Daniel Gomez happy birthday. He didn't contribute to the fine, but he's already donated twice since I've been standing up here. So I didn't want to ask him for money, but I do want to wish you a very happy birthday on August, is it the 24th? Did I get that right? All right. Happy birthday, Daniel. And I think I did it today. Yes. Okay. If you have a fine or something you want me to talk about, please call me or email me. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Back to you, Becky.
Thank you. Are you still accepting the 918 photos?
If you have those, submit them before the end of this week because we're going to post them next week to determine who wins.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
So we're doing that as a little fundraiser. It's to help get our social media engagement up. So what we'll be doing is she'll be posting those with the communications team, and then you'll ask your friends to vote through likes and shares and comments. And so that'll help get our wonderful posts out so more people are seeing them. So make sure and get your pictures in if you haven't done that yet. Thank you so much. All right, we have a couple of side mic announcements. Jan Lobb with Service Above Self.
I've not been on vacation, so yes, I'm tired. Just saying. All right. We have some upcoming scheduled. We have more planned, but we have actual scheduled some volunteer opportunities through the new committee, Service Above Self, for August, and it'll be August 30th. I've got a sign-up sheet up here at my table where I'll be sitting. It is August 30th from 9 o'clock to around 1 o'clock with Meals on Wheels, so that you can come in at 9. They'll give you a little bit of a training, a tour, and then you'll go out and deliver some meals to some very special people. And then September, we're supporting, because it's a service thing, we're supporting the Sunrise Rotary Club in honor of 9/11. They wanted to do a blood drive on that particular day, and they wanted to invite our club to join us if they can. It'll be at the Marriott on 9/11, which that's September 11th, and it'll be from 8 to 2. If you would like to participate in that, you can send me an email. There'll be a sign-up sheet. It's easier if you just send me an email, and I'll get you in touch with the person that's running the blood drive there with the Sunrise Club. So more to come, but those two are scheduled for August 30th and then September 11th. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jan. Next up is Kristen Dodson telling us a little bit about Hamilton.
Hello, thank you so much for having us here today. We're just thrilled. I'm the CEO of Celebrity Attractions, and this is concluding our 35th anniversary of doing entertainment here in Tulsa. And what a better way to go out with a bang than with this show, Hamilton. Last night was our first performance, and we're just thrilled to have the show here for 3 weeks. This is Elijah Malcolm. He's in the cast, and we're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. But first, I wanted to run a video just to give you a little sneak peek of the show. So Hamilton tells the story of our founding father, Alexander Hamilton, and his rise from poverty to power with the War of Independence as a backdrop. And it's just an amazing, such a unique way to tell a historical story with such a modern music and choreography. I'm going to read a quote from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who was the creator of the show. He said, "Hamilton is the story of America then told by America now." And I think you can see that in that clip. It just is just such an amazing show. It's a game changer for Broadway, both in New York and on the road. And Tulsa has just embraced it since the day that we announced it like a year and a half ago. So it's finally here. We had our first performance last night. And so, Elijah, why don't you tell us a little bit about the role that you play in the show and your background as an actor?
Hi, my name is Elijah Malcolm. So in the show, I play John Lawrence Phillip, who is one of Hamilton's best friends, as well as one of the few people who was advocating for the freedom of slaves through their service in the Revolutionary War in the first act. And being able to tell that story across this country has been such a life-changing experience for me. And it's been an eye-opening experience. I've learned a lot about, history in a way that I haven't before, and I've learned a lot about myself as a person and as an artist, which is fantastic. And then in the second act, I play Philip Hamilton, who was Hamilton's son, whose life was cut short by a duel. So, spoiler alert. But yeah, it's been a great journey. I've been on the tour for about a year and a half now, and I started with this company. We are the 5th company, I think, to open with the show, and we opened in Seattle about a year and a half ago, and yeah, it's been a great journey. I've loved it.
So last night was Last night was the first performance. Tonight is the official opening night, and like I said, it runs for 3 weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about the reaction of the audience last night? Did Tulsa respond?
Yeah. So normally, when we first get to a city, the audiences are really, really subdued. And we think it's because it's like all the season ticket holders and, people who have been in theater and they have like an understanding of the typical, audience response. But in Tulsa, you guys have been like incredible. I was blown away. I was like, oh, great. I'm excited now. I'm so happy to be here because like we, as the cast, like we love the energy of the audience that we feel because like we feel it. It's a shared experience. We're all in the room together. A lot of the times, the creatives, when they come, they'll always remind us that they want the show to feel open and inviting and welcoming and feel like the audience is a part of the show. And in that, meaning like they're breathing the same air as we are in the theater and like on the stage. So to get that reaction from us, it helps us tell the story and helps us like have fun with it. Like for example, you saw like clips of my shot and it's so high energy and so in your face. And sometimes we'll get to the end of that and it'll be like, yay, great. And then other times it's like roaring applause and it's worlds different. And you guys have really, really been great here with that.
I do know that some of the challenges with Hamilton is it's such a unique score for a Broadway show. Typically you're not hearing rap and R&B, and so a lot of audience members listen to the cast album prior to seeing the show, which we highly recommend. But then they get excited because they've learned how to rap, and they want to show everybody they know how to rap. And so there's been issues on the road with the audience, like having to tell the audience, stop singing along, stop rapping. Good for you for learning the words, but let them do it. So if you know the words and you come to the show, zip it, please. In the show, there's kind of a roller coaster. There's lots of drama, and there's also lots of comedy. I'd love to hear what your favorite part of the show is.
Oh, God, that's a good question. I'm not allowed, otherwise I would. Yeah, that's hard. I think the easier answer would be like my favorite song, my favorite number in the show is Wait For It. And that is because Aaron Burr is such a well put together character, and like the way he carries himself a certain way and like doesn't let his temper be shown very often in the show. And that's one of the few moments in the show that you get to see kind of like the internal struggle of his character. And I think it's something that like multiple people can relate to because, you have to carry yourself a certain way. And like, we all have things that we're dealing with that other people might not know about. And so I think that's a beautiful moment in the show that everyone can relate to. Yeah.
I have to say one of my favorite parts is when King George is on stage because I'm a sucker for a funny villain, and he is hilarious. So watch for that. So thank you so much for coming out. I know his schedules are obviously late nights, so to get them out in the light of day, we appreciate that. So, and just, with the hype of Hamilton, a lot of people assume that it sold out the day it went on sale, and we do have tickets available. We've had a fantastic response, but if you haven't grabbed tickets, there's great availability in the second and third week. All of our fantastic subscribers are sitting on seats this first week, so you can go to celebrityattractions.com to get information. And then there's also a Hamilton lottery. The producers are really great that they put seats available through their app for $10. And so if you're a lucky winner through the app to get a $10 seat to see this unbelievable show, this history-making show about our history, it's a pretty neat deal. So I encourage you to sign up for that as well. But thank you again for having us. We appreciate it. Celebrity Attractions is really proud to be a part of this community and provide entertainment for everyone. So thank you, and thank you again for coming, and come see the show. Come to the PAC.
Thank you both for coming. We're so excited that you're here in Tulsa. At this time, I would love to introduce our Rotarian of the Day, past President Linda Bradshaw. Linda served as club president in 2006, 2007, and has the distinction of being our first female president. She is a Paul Harris Major Donor, Rotary Foundation benefactor, Paul Harris Society member, 2004 Rotarian of the Year, and a recipient of the James G. Sade Service Above Self and Then Some Award. Please welcome past President Linda Bradshaw.
Thank you so much. Rotarians, guests, and friends, I am so honored today to introduce one of my good friends. He is Dr. Jim Halsey, music impresario, and in the country world, he is king. And so I want you now to take a look at the screens if you have a minute.
For over 60 years, the Jim Halsey Company has set the world to music. At 19, Jim promoted his first show. That success led to building the biggest country music agency in the world, starting with Hank Thompson, Wanda Jackson, and Roy Clark. Jim took country music around the world and to network TV, uncharted territory with successful results. Innovative marketing made this stellar roster of Halsey Company artists part of many firsts in appearances and events, like the Halsey Ranch Party, where industry giants came to Tulsa from all corners of the globe, and a weekend party turned into a year's worth of business. Jim saw the power of TV and his artist crossover appeal. Mainstream was ready for country, and Jim took it there and kept it there. For 25 years, Hee Haw showcased Roy Clark and many Halsey artists, bringing the best of country into America's living room. Jim's son Sherman continued in Halsey tradition breakthroughs in music video, TV, and charity work. Jim's company received international praise for the first ever country music tour Behind the Iron Curtain. For 21 days, Roy and the Oak Ridge Boys rocked Russia country style. No other music tour had this kind of significance. The Halsey Company became a company of firsts, and the 43-star roster became first in a lot of areas. Not only was he first to book country stars on the Strip, he was the first and only person to book 9 showrooms with 18 artists at once. As an educator, his music and entertainment degree program at OCU received the Governor's Excellence in Education Award. Jim's peers relish his knowledge, and he's on the board of directors of many prestigious organizations, with numerous awards for his decades of dedication to the music industry. As Jim says, the truest satisfaction is bringing peace and harmony to the universe through music and art. And that is what Jim Halsey has always been about.
That minute spanned 70 years. The minute that you just saw spans a 70-year career in country music. And Rotary friends, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Jim Halsey, music impresario.
Thank you, Thank you very much. And I'm going to keep doing it till I get it right, too. I'm very honored to be here at the Rotary because I have a long history with Rotary myself. I was born and raised in Independence, Kansas, and lived there for a long time. That's about 85 miles north of here. And I belonged to the Rotary Club there. My father was a Rotarian. My grandfather was a Rotarian. So there's a line that goes back 100 years. I was interested, just to digress a little bit, about that 40 under 40. I'm waiting for the 80 over 80. Well, second the motion. I have been very honored in my life to be able to present artists with a lot of respect in positions and places where maybe they weren't expected to be. And I think that all of us understand and realize that there are certain energy spots in the world, and Tulsa happens to be one of those. The word, it's not just the magic of the earth and the Creator's blessing here and the native people that helped build this, but it's the entrepreneurs that came along. It's the others that came here and built a town, a city like Tulsa. And there is a special energy here that I think stands a great potential in the music and entertainment world to become the epicenter of what's happening in America with music and entertainment. Yeah. If these energies and items and facilities could be harnessed collectively, I think that it could be one of the best tourist meccas in the world. When you look at the great museums that we have here, like Gilcrease and Philbrook, and the other musical entities like Kane's Ballroom, the Leon Russell restoration of his Magic at the Church, the OK Pop, all of the areas that have music and entertainment as the root of their energy, and it all is synergetic to the whole city of Tulsa. OK Pop, which is in the process of developing, will be a focal point as well, and people will come from miles. They'll come from around the world to see what Tulsa has to offer. Now, some of the important archives here are reflective of the history that has been made in, around, or about, or from Tulsa. And I'm very proud that our company, the Jim Halsey Company, which we're celebrating our 70 years in business this year, was part of the builders of the music and entertainment world of country music. And we centered our company here in Tulsa, and the outreach was global, not only television-wise, but the tours that we made were historic of importance. The opening up doors in countries that were not receptive to the United States. Like the first tour of the Soviet Union in 1976. It took 2 years to put that together and created wonderful, astonishing results from a diplomatic, personal, and emotional level for people in 17 Iron Curtain countries that really had great suspicion and not friendly attitude toward Americans. Roy Clark and the Oak Ridge Boys were the first ever country music artists to set foot in those Iron Curtain countries. And for 21 days, we did sold-out performances and changed millions of people's attitudes toward America. When that was completed, I got a letter from every senator in the United States Senate congratulating Roy and the Oak Ridge Boys on the good that they had done and opened doors that diplomatically had been closed and not opened at all. It shows you the power of human beings with the ability to communicate with one another. And part of that communication comes through music, performance. It comes through art and painting. I'd like to introduce my wife, Manisa Crumbo Halsey, who was the first Native American to exhibit in the Soviet Union. In fact, her picture's on the cover of Soviet Life when you look through our archival things back here. But that energy that we're talking about is circulating and swirling around Tulsa, and it has been and is going to continue to be. Ken Burns, one of the great special documentarians of the world, has an interesting 18-hour, 9-piece history of country music. It's basically a history of the 20th century as well, because country music was so entwined in the cultural and the life of all of us during the 20th century. These 18 hours really could have been expanded much more. But Tulsa's featured in that as well, too. This is a picture of Dayton Duncan, Roy Clark, Wanda Jackson, and myself when he came to Tulsa 5 years ago, and he interviewed people in our office. Dayton is a premier documentary maker. He did the one on the Dust Bowl, on baseball, and now he's writer, producer, and director of this 18 hours of Ken Burns Magic that is going to be really an opening of what is happening in America and happened there in the 20th century. So all of these items that we have in Tulsa, the Woody Guthrie Center, the Bob Dylan Center that's coming, the Leon Russell's Church, the OK Pop, Kane's Ballroom, all of these play an important part in the history of the United States music business, but they also play for the future of what we're doing. So we haven't been collecting, I'll say we've been collecting. These are some of the archives that you'll see here today from our company, which we have over 50,000 pieces in our archival collection. This is part of the eye candy that you see. We have over 70 guitars and musical instruments, over 160 gold and platinum albums from artists that we represented out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, that received gold or platinum standard. That means they sold 500,000 or 1 million copies or more. Like in the case of the Oak Ridge Boys award back here, which is the Recording Industry of America's award for selling a total of 41 million records. Well, the Oak Ridge Boys Management Company, which is us, and we're still doing it, is right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with a global reach that we go around the world, not only with our personal appearances, but with our music and our television. Same way with Roy Clark. Roy Clark hosted Hee Haw for 25 years. For 25 years, he was in the top 5 recognizable personalities in television. And that included Bob Hope, it included Johnny Carson, and I forget who. But Roy Clark from Tulsa, Oklahoma, was in the top 5. And whenever he went any place, he talked about Tulsa. I talk about Tulsa when I go places because it's an important center for what we're doing and for what the world is. The other people besides us are doing it too. Teresa Knox with the Leon Russell Studios, bringing that back to life, and to be more recordings made there. Leon was an important part of the global music scene, and he lived right here in Tulsa. My thought is that if there were a collective energy put together with art facilities like Gilcrease and Philbrook, and the intellectual properties and the physical properties of the music and entertainment world, it could only be rivaled by one other place, and that's Nashville, that has a number of museums. Their Country Music Museum, which I've been on the board of the Country Music Association 4 different times. I was one of the original people when it was in the basement of a war memorial building. Now they have over 650,000 visitors a year. That's tourist business. There are a number of other museums there. A friend of ours started the Johnny Cash Museum 4 years ago. In the first 3 years, they did over 1 million paid admissions today. Now those same people are building the Merle Haggard Museum, the Patsy Cline Museum, another Johnny Cash Museum and restaurant. He also has the rights to do the Frank Sinatra Museum in Nashville. Museums are an important part of entertainment and inspiration, but they're also educational. I think that what we look at and what we see here in Tulsa can be built even stronger and bigger than it is now and on a global reach. It's all about that energy, and that's what we're here and with our bits and pieces of some of our archival pieces that you can look at. We have some against the back wall back, there's a Bob Dylan signed guitar. There's Roy Clark guitar that was used in his Lightning Fingers album, and it's on the cover of Lightning Fingers. These are the type of things that we have. The Grammy Museum presented Roy Clark with this in 1982 for the instrumental Alabama Jubilee. Well, a lot of the artists that we represented received Grammys, and we have bits and pieces, but those usually belong to the artist, and they're not shared with anybody other than the artist. This happens to be Roy's that he gave to us, and so we share it. But how many people have even seen a Grammy or held one? They're a revered award within the music industry. I think that what we're doing in Tulsa is fantastic with the accumulation of these various museums and things. I hate to use the word museum because it's so static and it really doesn't describe the excitement when you walk into a Bob Dylan archive or a Woody Guthrie archive. And right now, the Arlo Guthrie exhibit is up. And these are people that have made musical American history, and they're presented for you right here in Tulsa. Those things are important, along with Gilcrease and Philbrook, and particularly Gilcrease with its history, a modern history of American artifacts and art itself. So I'm just here to check into what's really the possibility that we have available for us in Tulsa if we combine the efforts of all of these various museums, and maybe there is a Jim Halsey archival museum, or a Roy Clark archival museum, which Roy has interesting things too, over 100 instruments in Roy's thing. So it's not about any one particular thing, because none of these various displays or exhibitions are in competition with one another. They're supportive and complementary. So when you have the Woody Guthrie, the Bob Dylan, the OK Pop, the Cain's Ballroom, the Leon Russell, these are all synergetic and work together because they were all part of Tulsa energy in their own way and made their own importance and made their own status in American history. So that is, I guess, by bringing down some of our material, really I wasn't thinking too much about anything other than showing people, you for instance, items that you may never have a chance to see unless you went to certain museums that specialize in this. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that are, but I'm a supporter of what we have going. It's the energy that's special here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm very honored and proud to have been a part of it and to build over. Our company's been here for over 50 years, and all of these, including the Roy Clark Soviet Union tour, both of them, were designed, planned, laid out, and scheduled right here from our office at 3225 South Norwood. When Roy left for the Soviet Union in January of 1976, there was like a big contingency at the Tulsa airport to see him and the entourage off. And Oral Roberts was there, and we all held hands and all said a prayer because none of us knew what was going to happen when nobody had been to the Soviet Union that we even knew, other than people at the State Department, and they're telling us about how dark, dank, and dismal it was and how to be careful. Well, we got there and we found people, same as people here, full of life, but it was repressed. Full of love, but it was kept within inside them. And we made friends that lasted and changed the world. Well, if we can do that with one group of entertainers and that, why can't we do that with whole groups of people? And shake your hand, say hi, how are you today? Give a smile. It's, you know, the world is getting smaller and smaller, and it's becoming so polarized that we're still people and we still have feelings. Let's express those with our emotion of friendship and love. And a lot of that is done through art, through paintings that go around, and it's done through music and concert performances. So that's part of it. I remember a couple of stories here. All of the artists that we represent, which it was true, we had the largest country music agency in the world. Now, we had 41 artists, but they were all stars. Reba McEntire, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Hank Thompson, on and on, Jody Miller, Tammy Wynette. It went on and on. Our company has represented 31 of the artists that are in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and 12 of our artists are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we had the quality, and somebody asked me one time if I liked all the artists I represented. Well, we didn't represent them unless I liked them. But each one of them had their own personality and their own intricacies of thought and deed. And Roy Orbison, who I consider one of the greatest of all time, and I really appreciated his music, and he was a very quiet person. And he wore dark glasses, they always tinted, so you never really saw him. But he had a great heart and an in-depth soul. And I had an opportunity through our travels of festivals for an invitation for Roy Orbison to appear at the Golden Orpheus Festival in Bulgaria, in Sofia, Bulgaria. Now that was one of the deepest, darkest of all the Iron Curtain countries. And even to this day, you don't hear much about Bulgaria. So we decided to make him the offer. He accepted to perform and headline the Golden Orpheus Festival, which was one of the largest music festivals in the communist world, and was attended primarily by communist countries. Nobody else went there. He agreed to do that, and we got on the plane and flew to Washington, D.C. We flew to London, flew to Rome, and then into Sofia, Bulgaria. Well, I'm telling you, it was about a 24-hour plane trip, and we were all just beat by the time we got in Sofia, Bulgaria. Now, it was dark, dank, and dismal for sure. But we had the Bulgarian officials there to meet us. And we get off the plane, and Roy Orbison looks around. It's a strange place, strange buildings, strange people. And he said, Halsey, where are we? I said, Sofia, Bulgaria for the Golden Orpheus Festival. He looked at me and said, I thought you said we were going to Bavaria. Yeah. Well, I was never sure, and he never told me whether he was serious or not. But we went to the festival. We were the only Americans at that festival, and there were probably 30 to 50,000 people there. And at all of these performers from the different socialist countries that were there. And we're walking down the street, they call it the Avenue of the Flags, the afternoon of the festival. And this is just a little story about how important these communications are. And the Minister of Culture is with the Bulgarian Minister of Culture, welcoming Mr. Orbison to Bulgaria. And she said, Mr. Orbison, for the first time in Bulgaria, the American flag is flying. And it was on that boulevard. So those are the things that performers and entertainers can do. Now, at the end of that great performance that he did with a 78-piece orchestra, well, one of the customs in Europe, of course, is that they will bring flowers to the stage and lay them on the corner. He had so many flowers they stacked up that eventually you couldn't see Roy Orbison. He was there. Well, they compensated us with the money that they had there that we used for a hotel. So my wife and I hosted a party at the leading hotel there, which left a lot to be desired, but it was the number one there. But we had people from the American Embassy, and I had the cultural attaché from the American Embassy that was sitting with us and thanking us for bringing Mr. Orbison there. He says, you know, I've been here for 3 years. I've never met the Minister of Culture. I said, well, let me introduce you. She's sitting next to my wife, Manitha. Those are the things that music, entertainment, art can do, is to bring people together. And part of what I've learned to do, or be, it's all a matter of connections, and you view everybody with a clear mind and a clear heart. Now, if they do something that makes you distrust that, then you can change it. But go into a situation having the best possible feeling and the positive feeling. And before you go in, what I always do when I have a meeting, it doesn't matter whether it's the Minister of Culture in Bulgaria or it's the president of Falstaff Beer in St. Louis, Missouri, I always stop before I go into the meeting. And I clear myself of any attitudes or thoughts or negativity that I have. So when I go in and shake hands with who's ever there, I'm totally free and clear of anything that's not positive in my body. And I think that that's the way that all of us can do. Instead of going in maybe with an attitude, or these people are so against America, they're going to be against us. Well, you know, everybody isn't against America, and everybody isn't against us. And we can go in and represent ourselves in humanity without being involved or any ideology or politics or anything else. We represent mankind. That's the rest of it comes on as a burden later on. But what we do as an individual and a person is we have an obligation to do service. And the way we looked at it with all the art that we presented, and I learned this early on with Hank Thompson, who was my first client and mentor, that we played places in America, particularly in the Appalachian places, where people would come to see our show, and you knew that they didn't have money enough for food on the table or mortgage payments, And some of those kids that came didn't have shoes and clothes. But for a magical 2 hours, that entertainment can transport you to a different place and a different time to where you have some good, clear, positive, happy thoughts, at least for a while. And you can go back on it. That's why Hamilton, it's important to go see shows like Hamilton, because for 2 hours you're transported to another world and you can reflect back on that. That's why it's important to go see the Oak Ridge Boys when they're here at the River Spirit, October the 5th. Because they will transport you to a different place of peace and harmony that maybe you haven't been able to reach with anything else other than a magic carpet ride someplace. So I learned that early on with Hank Thompson. Hank was my first time. My very first date was in October of 1949 when I promoted my first show in Independence, Kansas. And that was Leon McCullough and his Western Swing Band. Do you remember him? Yeah. Well, it was successful. We became good friends. We promoted a lot of dates with Leon. Eventually, we became his agents and represented him for everything. And that's the way I met Hank Thompson. We promoted him, and then in the fall of 1951, Hank called me. He said, my manager and my agent is leaving to do something else. Would you become my manager and agent? Well, I was just 20, getting ready to turn 21. One of the things that is important for all of us is we all have a lot of opportunities, every one of us here. And maybe it's just for a free meal or something, but it's an opportunity. You have to learn to recognize when you have an opportunity knocking on your door. Then you evaluate it, and then you act on it. And a lot of people get those opportunities, and they come and go, well, that really wasn't real. You don't know until you act on it. Well, it took me about 3 seconds to act on Hank Thompson. I said, I'll be there. How soon? So that started a career with Hank Thompson, and from Hank, we built it with Wanda Jackson and Roy Clark, and then we started building the mega agency. So I thank God, I thank the Creator for being so abundant with my life in family, friends, and opportunities. But I also thank God to be able to recognize opportunities and work on them. They don't always work out of you, some of them, but you learn something from everyone that you're in. They don't have to be enormously successful to be successful to you, emotionally and spiritually, because you learn from all of that. I'm still learning that today, and I'm here at the Rotary Club giving thanks. Thank you, God, for letting me be here. 70 years later, I'm still doing it. I'm still managing the Oak Ridge Boys for 45 years now. Lost Roy last November. God bless you, Roy. Thank you for everything. And everything you did for Tulsa. A lot of people don't realize he was one of the biggest stars that ever lived here. And he talked about Tulsa all of the time, wherever he was. He was your ambassador to the world out there. So hopefully, as all of these museum, exhibition, exhibit type of projects get rolling, they can all be organized into one common promotional piece for Tulsa as a tourist attraction. And this is what Nashville has done. They're organized down there. A lot of people that are not even involved in the music business are involved in the aspects of having that all there. So I say that, and people say to me, well, are you trying to make Tulsa another Nashville? Absolutely not. I'm living on Tulsa time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take questions. I've got a couple of minutes yet for any questions.
Mr. Halsey, Vince Gill was here Saturday night, and during his performance, he said the person that had the biggest impact on him was Merle Haggard. Would you give some of your remembrances about Mr. Haggard?
Well, Merle Haggard was one of those great genius of artists. He was the one that could take the most elemental common denominator of life and make a hit song out of it. And it was most of those songs that he wrote were all about him and his experiences. I really enjoyed working with Merle Haggard because he was an artist. All the artists loved him. I love Vince Gill, by the way. He was great. We missed Vince Gill, I got to tell you. And he tells me about that every time he sees me. He says, you know, I tried to get in to see you one time, and I could never get past the receptionist desk. Well, usually my receptionist would say, well, leave a demo. And we did that one time where there were a couple of girls that came into our office in Nashville wanting to get an agent, and my receptionist said, well, leave a demo. And they said, well, what's a demo? And I said, well, it's a recording of your song that's on CD or tape, and Mr. Halsey will listen to it and evaluate it. And they said, well, we don't need that. We got our guitars out in the car. So they went out and got their guitars and came back in our lobby of our office there, and, you know, singing away, and everybody's all the agents sticking their head out the door to see what it was. That was the Judds. And so we looked at that, and they were good. And the fact that they were mother and daughter made them a unique, sellable quality that was a little different than something else. So you never know. We talk about opportunities. If we had said, no, we won't listen to you. But I miss Vince Gill. He's great. I love Vince Gill. Any other questions?
I do. Opportunity. My senior year in college, I got to take your music business class at OCU. But music business is certainly a business. Can you speak a little bit? Obviously, you feel that the education of music business is important. Can you speak to that a bit?
Well, I think what we're doing in Tulsa is, with all of the museums and places of that character, there needs to be an educational program about the music and entertainment business at one of the universities here. We've designed one that we use and getting ready to put online, but a lot of schools in Nashville have that. Belmont University in Nashville is so important to the music industry because it gives a place where you can go find out. Much like our class that we had at Oklahoma City, you find out what the job of managers, agents, press and PR people, record companies, promoters, tour managers, all of that. One picture I have up here, this is the Oak Ridge Boys standing on Nissan Stadium in Nashville. There are 70,000 people in that audience. It's 4 guys. But behind those 4 guys, we identified over 500 different jobs and positions that were involved one way or another in helping those 4 guys get to where they are on that stage. So I'm hoping that maybe there will be something to go along with OK Pop and the Leon Russell and Kane's Ballroom and Woody Guthrie, and that will have opportunities for young people to learn how to do it and why to do it.
Jim, my 92-year-old mother's favorite group on the earth is the Oak Ridge Boys. Is it true that all those years you've represented them, it's all on a handshake without a contract?
That's true. I did that with a number of people, too. And thank you for asking that questions. In 45 years, we're still doing it. But I did have contracts with a lot of the artists just because if we're going to the bank to borrow some money, they said, well, let's see the contract so that you've got. There's one back there of George Jones where we have a 3-year management agency contract with George Jones with his signature. And we find that our archival things that in our office is a museum. We have hundreds of pieces in there that those contracts signed, we have signed contracts by Reba, by the Judds, by a lot of people, but the Oak Ridge Boys. Thank you, Matt, for asking. Yes.
Mr. Halsey, you serve on the Will Rogers Foundation board. How does Will fit in this picture of all the music and creativity?
Well, Will Rogers was one of the first people to ever make that realization and connection that everybody's the same. It doesn't matter where you're from or what language you speak, but we all have similar things and ideas and tastes we would do. He reached everybody. And while he wasn't a musician, he did discover Gene Autry. And Gene Autry was one of the very first country music artists, and he's featured in Ken Burns, as well as a lot of other country music people from Oklahoma will be. So I want to encourage everybody to watch it. It's a story about America, more so even than country music. Yes, sir.
Mr. Halsey, as you very well know, we have a great history of jazz here in Tulsa for over 100 years now. Do you see a way in which we can combine your efforts with those who have that deep felt love of jazz that we can make Tulsa a greater place?
It's all the same. It's all music and it's all reaching people. I happen to be a jazz person myself. And one of my mentors in life was Woody Herman, the great big band jazz man. But, well, if I had time, I've got a lot of stories. But I basically want to say thank you for hosting me today to at least share some of our archival pieces that I hope you get a chance to look at. The Grammy here. Here's a gold medal from the New York International Film Festival that my son received for Dwight Yoakam's Honky Tonk Man video. There's just so many things that people find interesting and inspiring, but they're also educational. And I'd like to say, yeah, well, Oklahoma OSU's got a program on music and entertainment, or TCC, or someplace else that you can go take a class and really find out what it is maybe that you want to do or can do in this music business. Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. Your contribution to music and to Tulsa is amazing and inspiring. And I love your quote and how you, your thought on that you're spreading peace and goodwill through music throughout the world. And as you know, that's a Rotary value as well. So we really appreciate your time today. And in honor of Dr. Halsey, a book to Celia Clinton will be donated called Country Music Hoedown. Very fitting. We have one last very exciting thing to share with you. We have had some tickets donated that we're going to auction off. So Mr. Ed, auctioneer extraordinaire, if you'll make your way to the front. Celebrity Attractions, Kristen has brought 2 tickets to see Cats, and Mabry Bank, we have donated 2 tickets to Hamilton. So we have decided to auction those off today, and all the proceeds will go to the foundation. So let's start the bidding.
Well, Mr. Halsey, I never thought I'd live long enough to follow you on a program, but... And I'm past 80 also, okay? All right, so Hamilton is first, and who wants to be the first bidder? What night is it, by the way?
Oh, thank you. Wednesday, September 28th, and it is Orchestra, row M, seats 112 and 111.
All right, right down there amongst them.
What did I say? August. Thank you, August, for Hamilton.
Right, all
Is
right.
that what you-
So, who'll be
August
$500?
28th.
Anybody give $500 to start the bidding? 500. Anybody give 5? Now, where is that $10 deal doesn't go here, so you forget that, okay? So 300. Anybody give 3? $300? 3. 50. Thank you, Jeff. 4. I'm at 3. You want to be 50. I'm at 3. You want to be 50 and 150, 50, 50. Want to be 50 and want to get 50. 350. I'm at 350 and 4. Jeff, Quit visiting. 4, 4, 4, and 50, 50, 50. You want to be 450, 5, 5, 5, 5, 50, 50, 50, 550. Come on. 550. We don't have all night. 550. 550.
He'll stop you if you
Anyone
get
else
too
wanna
high.
bid? 550. 6, Jeff. Come on. You're not broke. 7. 700. Come on. 7. Well, let's do it the Democrat way. 650. Okay? 650. Yes? No? Jeff, you get him. $600. Thank you.
Bob, as second place bidder, would you like to have another 2 tickets?
You want 2 more tickets? Yeah.
Was it
All
Bob?
right.
I'm sorry, I might have. Was it?
Dale gets them. All right.
I've got 2 more if you'd like them.
He wants them.
Okay, you got it. All right, for cats, Kristen, do we have a date on that? I'm sorry, I didn't. October 8th. Wonderful, thank you. October 9th? Okay. It's a month thing right now, who knows what. October 9th. Go ahead.
So now you Democrats can bid this time, okay? So anybody get 300 on the Cats tickets? $300. Anybody get 3? It's the only way in the world to deduct them. $300. 2. Anybody know what Cats is? $200. 2 here, 50. I'm at 2, you want to be 50. I'm at 2, you want to be 50, 50, 50. And 3, 3, 3. You want to be $300, want to be 3. I know you're not out of money. 300, 3. Just dig down a little further. 300, want to be 3. And 50. Come on, Mr. Davis. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. You want to be 4. Anybody 4? 350 bid 4. 350 want to be $400. Anybody 4? There's a lot of you are not bidding. $400 want to be 4. 400. Sold to Mr. Davis at $350.
Thank you for your donations to the foundation, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Please be sure to go back and look at Dr. Halsey's exhibit in the back. There are so many amazing things, inspirational stories I'm sure that he can share, so be sure to visit that on your way out. Have a wonderful week, and you are agents of change. Now go change the world.